And then next Saturday, there's a whole nother event where I'm speaking with a wonderful group of people. Again, Neil's putting this on. You can find it at portaltoascension.org. I'm speaking on the sacred temples of the goddess. So I'm talking about these hidden sacred sites that have been um, uh, activated on the planet for thousands of years. And I've really, I can talk about this for 9 hours, but I'm only speaking for an hour on, and I've specialized really on five major goddesses. So we're looking at Sophia, Isis, Kuan Yin, White Buffalo Calf Woman, and Bridget. But there are other wonderful speakers. William will be on that. The White Lions from South Africa will be on that tomorrow. They kick the whole show off. These are very telepathic healing lions. I think some of the elders, Mayan elders and Native American elders will be, and I'm hoping that Neil will talk a little more about this tonight in the program because he's also a wonderful speaker.
Yes, Neil is going to talk about that. And I see that Deborah just put those links into the chat box. And again, for more Tricia McCannon, her website is her name, Tricia, Tricia, McCannon, McCannon.com. Tricia, this is, I think, the third time you've been, it's the third time you've been on our show. I know it's not going to be the last. Thank you so much for your wisdom. And you did it, gal. You kept it 14 minutes and 52 seconds, something like that.
You're an inspiration, Scott. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm going to put my picture up, but believe me, I'm going to be with you guys for most of the program because I want to hear some of the other speakers.
No, and we got some great stuff coming up, so thank you.
Thank you.
Whew, boy, there's so much. Isn't it fascinating? Really interesting. And I do really want to encourage everybody to go to these other events that you're learning about. We're going to hear from Neil Gar, who does so many wonderful things through Portal to Ascension. We're going to see him in a little bit. So this is when we have what we call our mid-show announcements. And we really want to acknowledge and appreciate a lot of the people that really make this show happen. And I want to start by thanking our broadcast partners. And it's pretty cool. We keep adding more and more broadcast partners. So, first and foremost, I really want to thank Unify because that's really how we're reaching probably the most people right now. And right now, a lot of you are watching on Unify, and thousands will end up watching it overall. Really want to thank our friends John and Summer Raymer at the Sign Network that they do the sine waves that take us out to about anywhere from 50 to 75 different groups and pages. Some of you might be watching on Awake TV. Jay Mayer and Light Touch has been such an incredibly important part of our show. Jay has sponsored many of our shows. He's sponsoring next week's show and the December 26th show, and he's going to be sponsoring many shows in the new season. So thank you, Jay and Light Touch. Alan Steinfeld, our buddy with New Realities TV. He'll be, I know a lot of people watch us on his YouTube channel. You might be watching right now. Usually it's about 1,000 people. My company, Love Coach Academy, and we provide a lot of free shows every week, such as the one I'll do tomorrow morning with Michael Feely. I want to thank Earth Dance. They always carry us and they do great stuff. Humanities Team. This is one of our new broadcast partners and a wonderful organization. When they put together a virtual festival, that's really powerful. You've been hearing us talk tonight about Portal to Ascension. That's Neil Gar's organization that puts out great things, including what Tricia just told us about. And we'll hear more from Neil later today. Thank you to Adrian and Disclosure Fest and Chris Decker and Global Days of Unity and Earthwalk. We're going to be collaborating with Sadiq and this incredible group of people that he's putting together. They're doing a 10-day program starting on December 11th, and we're going to kick it off with the Love Coach Academy Straight Talk show, and it's going to include two of our shows. Our December 12th and 19th shows will be part of what they're doing. And then New Earth One, our newest broadcast partner. Really happy to have them on board. Thank you, everybody, for making this happen. We also talked about our sponsors. And it's great having sponsors, and I really appreciate it. And tonight's sponsor, who you're going to hear from in a moment, we're going to meet David Kaplan. We're going to learn all about his products. And he's got some really beautiful products through Divine Organics. And Divine Organics is, you're going to learn a lot more about it, but it's a wonderful organization. I just got to meet David this week, and I can't wait to try his nuts. That sounds kind of funny. I could get into trouble saying that. David, I dig your nuts. But it's going to be really wonderful to hear from David, and that's going to take place shortly. So finally, I just want to remind everybody, you can still come into the Zoom room. It's not too late. So for those of you watching on Facebook, go to globalpeacetribe.com and register. It's really, really easy. And it's great to have you come on into our Zoom room. And I see a lot of people are still coming. We still have well over 300 people in our Zoom room. So thank you, everybody. We appreciate our sponsors and our broadcast partners. And finally, most of all, those of you watching, those of you that are new, those of you that have been coming for many, many weeks. One last thing I want to say. We get emails a lot from people all over the world now who watch this show. And a lot of people, this is the highlight of their week. And so that's really meaningful to us, recognizing that so many of us have had these things taken away from us that we love. And so just want to say hello and thank you to everybody who takes the time to write us. And to those of you filling out the survey, that survey that Deborah's been putting into the chat box, fill it out, because we're putting together our new season and we want to really take in your feedback. So thank you, everybody. And now I get to turn it over to Deborah.
Thank you, Scott. And I want to thank everyone who has been signing up and registering for the new season. So we can see you coming in, and I really appreciate that. We're going to keep posting those links in the chat box. And remember that you can give it as a gift, which I think is really cool. And thank you for your donations. Last week we posted our GoFundMe, and we got some great donations that helped us to really, go forward with this new season and put everything together that we did in the last week to be able to launch it now. So thank you. And we're going to put our GoFundMe in the chat room as well. If you want to just ping us some green love for the new season, just because we really appreciate that. And I want to let you know, that's our GoFundMe. You can go to GoFundMe and just type in globalpeacetribe.com. That's going to be our GoFundMe for anyone that wants to support what we're doing. And I want to make sure you know about our 3 last shows of the fall season in December, which are going to be really incredible again. And what happens is Scott and I take on some specific shows that we just love, and then we bring in other people to help collaborate. But I'd like to have Scott share this next show that we're going to be having next week, because he's really put his heart and soul into this one.
Oh, thank you, Deborah. And yeah, I got to say, I'm really excited about this show. It's called Relationship Mastery. And of course, my whole thing is teaching and learning about relationships. And we've got all these amazing couples who have combined long-term relationship with creative expression and their own spiritual practice. We've got Gay and Katie Hendricks. They literally wrote the book Conscious Loving. I met them 25 years ago. They're a beautiful couple, and they've been really paving the way for so many of us. Then we've got David Pramal and Miten, my wife who passed away, and I spent 3 weeks with them in India back in 2005. And they're an amazing couple. I'm sure all of you have listened to their music. They're going to be with us. And then we're bringing back Pato Banton and Antoinette Hall, amazing reggae stars. And they also combine their music with their creative and spiritual expression. And then in come the millennials, Trish Wright and Dawn Love, who teach self-love, and they're best of friends for 10 years, a different form of couple, platonic friends working together, collaborating. And then for music, we've got, of course, David Pramal and Miten they're going to play music. Pato and Antoinette are going to play music, as well as speak about how they are really masterful in relationship. And we've got Cornflower, one of our very favorite musicians coming back. And then my good buddy, Greg Magic Bernstein, talking all about the importance of connection to source. And then we've got a brand new magician coming in, Chris Heron. I've been working with him this week, and he's going to do something very, very unique. So next week's show is going to be terrific, and I'm very excited about it. And now I'm going to turn back over to Deborah to just tell us a little bit about the final 2 shows of this year.
Thanks, Scott. So December 19th, we love to use the potent times on the planet to activate. And December 19th is right before the winter solstice. And this is going to be a big one. And the theme is Winter Solstice Activating the New World for 2021. We're going to feature Neil Donald Walsh. We have Starhawk joining us, Mirabai Davy, Elizabeth April, Guinevere Bridge. We're going to have the Stargate back with Prageet and Julianne. We're going to have an expert, Tony Procello, on the Course in Miracles, and many other amazing musicians. And more than ever, we're going to gather as a global family and really activate the power of the winter solstice portal now, which has a huge astrological configuration that we'll share all about on this show, and as a really powerful time for transition, especially with what we've all been going through and what we can create for our next season in this new birth. So it's going to be great. And then on December 26th, right after Christmas, we are going to share special moments of Saturday Night Live. We're actually going to bring back some of the highlights of all the keynotes and special people with some live musicians. And Jay Mayer is going to be sponsoring that show. And Jay Mayer is also sponsoring the Relationship Mastery. So again, I want to totally honor and appreciate Jay for being there for us and helping us to bring these amazing shows. And also, just again, we are having a supporters party for those people that have donated a large amount through registration, and that will be December 17th. And there's our flyer there. We're going to have Pollyanna Bush. We're going to have cornflower. We're going to have breakout groups. We're going to have fun. You can actually talk to us specifically and let us know what you want to see on the show. So those are for those that are giving us the bigger donations when they register above $75, or if you fill out the supporter form and you want to help us promote or volunteer or that type of thing. So thank you so much for helping us co-create this amazing adventure. And we're definitely going to go forward into 2021 and really take this to a whole new level. So appreciate it. Love you so much.
Thank you, Deborah. A lot's going on right now, and there's a lot of predictions around December 21st. From an astrological standpoint, it's when Jupiter and Saturn are conjuncting in a very rare way, a way that doesn't happen very often. I think it's like once every 80 years. And a lot of our Native American elders have been talking about how it's going to be a very, very powerful time. So I think we can all feel it, and so that's why it's so good to come together in community and share in the magic, share in the excitement, share in the compassion, and continue to learn these amazing tools. Just like tonight, we're learning so much about these ancient times and how they impact us today and in the future.
Scott, I would like to just say that Saturn and Jupiter conjuncted December 25th of 7 BC. And that is one of 4 major dates that I've looked at in terms of when Jesus was born. So I would not look at this as a disaster. I would look at this as a window where the Lord of Light, Jupiter, meets the Lord of Responsibility. Karma comes due in a good way. So it's like, it's a good thing, really. It's 2 great lords coming together, and it's magnificent, actually. So I wouldn't have any fear about it. It's not going to be a bad thing.
Thank you, Tricia, my fellow Capricorn. We both are going into Capricorn. She's a Capricorn.
You were born the 25th.
That's right.
I'm the 26th. So, hey.
So everybody, there's only about 22 more shopping days until our birthdays. All right. Thanks, Trish. I really appreciate that. Hey, it's time for some more magic. So here he is. Sean, I can't wait to see what you're going to do this time. And this time I'm going to leave me unmuted. So at least you can hear me gasping or laughing or being astonished.
Laughing, astonishment, all good things. So let's change it up a little bit. The nature of the medium, everybody wants to be muted, but this time I'd like all the panelists to unmute yourself so I could hear, not only can I see your reactions, but I'd like to hear your reactions in real time, just so I can feel like I'm actually at a show. Fair?
There's
Yes, done.
Done? Okay, I'll wait till everybody unmutes yourself. Ready? Good, so we could have this interaction here. Okay, great. So, again, going back to the theme of ancient civilizations, probably one of the most important members of tribal societies was the ancient shaman. And I don't claim to be a shaman by any stretch of the means. I'm just a fantastic entertainer. I use my talents and skills to make people laugh and smile in times of darkness. And in my art form, in the magic industry, it's kind of the same way. We have mentors and we have elders that pass down knowledge to the younger generation. And to help remind me of one of the great elder magicians of the past, Harry Blackstone, which you can see right over here. It's a portrait there that I made that is just one of my magical heroes. And next to Blackstone is a magic wand. And with that magic wand, I'm going to show you how the magic is passed down. We're going to do a little magic to music. One, two. Watch the coins. From here to there. And back. That was fast. One, two coins. There's another one. Right out in the air. Yeah, you know what that's called? That's called 17 years of practice and no social life. That's what that's called. 4 coins.
Whoa.
Now we're going to go back in time. Back to the moment where I only had 3 coins. We're going to go back even further, back to where I only had 2 coins. All the way back to just 1 coin. Now we go back to the very beginning, where I didn't have any coins at all. All I had was this magic wand to remind me of the ancients, the greats, the magicians of the past. Watch. And this is my tribute to the greats of the past. Harry Blackstone, look over there, it's back.
Whoa!
Maybe it's the spirit of Harry helping me out or something, I don't know. But I'll put that back where it belongs. Thank you, Harry. Now, I've saved the best for last. We have time for one more here. This is my signature piece. It combines my love for music composition, sleight of hand, 3D printing, electronics, and all of that. And it goes something like this. As a magician and millennial, I'm constantly fascinated with new forms of technology. So keeping that in mind, I like to try to combine old technology with new technology. Let me show you what I mean. First, let's start with old technology. Now, thank you. Now we're going to use some new technology. So is there somebody out there that has a smartphone that I could borrow? Oh, yes. Thank you so much. Sean J. And that's enough. I'm a millennial, what can I say? Sometimes we need to do what's called a social media detox. You ever heard of that one? Sometimes we just need to take a break from it all. And we need to just stop and take a break from it every once in a while to enjoy that face-to-face human connection that we all love and enjoy. So you're probably wondering where the phone is, and I don't blame you. So in order to get the phone back, we must first examine the past. Then we must examine the present. And if we can combine the past and the present, we can get the future, which is the exact same phone right here, right now. That's how you combine old technology and new technology. Thank you very much. I'm Sean J. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Oh my God, that's fantastic. I've got to bring on all the people. I'm going to put it in the gallery because everybody just was so into this, and just beautiful. Absolutely, really, really fun. Hey,
Thank you.
Sean, I want people to know also that you've got a great website, SeanJMagic.com. And I'm going to
Got it.
start it because it's pretty alive. I had queued it up earlier, but there's
Thanks.
a lot going on. And Sean's been on Fox, ABC, NBC, Masters of Illusion. And when he's not performing or speaking at events, he uses his talents for 3D CAD design and
CAD design, yep.
right, to help world-class magicians and inventors in other industries create new products for the marketplace. So, Sean J, you rocked it. And I sure hope you're going to come back and be with us again.
I would love to. That's the kind of review I like to hear. You rocked it. I'll take it. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody at the Global Peace Tribe. This was wonderful. Thanks for having me. I hope I brought some light to your world wherever you are watching through the magic of technology. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you, Sean. Oh boy, that's a hard one to follow, but I know the
I can do this at your next virtual event too. I do this at company events. You know, it gets boring just looking at a Zoom screen discussing crunching numbers all the time. You know, somebody's got to break it up.
Absolutely.
So, putting that out there.
So everybody, hire Sean for your next virtual event. All right. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you. Good night.
Deborah, the spotlight's on you.
Great. So now we get to introduce a very special man who's done a lot for the planet and a lot for us. David Kaplan is a magician of transition nutrition. He has created a raw superfood company that focuses on sourcing ingredients from around the world to help people make the transition from a regular diet to a high vibrational diet, while empowering themselves for more health and consciousness. So I've known David for a while and really respected this mission he has. He's created a gourmet superfood company that provides the finest organic, chemical-free, sustainable farm-grown superfoods. And he goes around the world finding these foods and getting the highest quality. And this is so important at this time because our food supply has a lot of chemicals, is denatured, and we're not sure what we're getting. But with what David's providing, these are very much delicious, high vibration superfoods. And so, Scott, can you show that video that shows David and his what he shares around that? Thank you.
Here it is.
So here we are in the Philippines. We just got in. It's been raining peely nuts from this 50-year-old peely tree. Here we have some beautiful peely fruit, and within them is the hard kernel. So for you people that don't know much or anything about peely nuts, they're really a super delicious and nutritious, soft, buttery nut that can also be made crispy through dehydrating or roasting. Peely nuts also are said to contain the most healthy fat of any nuts on the planet. So this exotic, erotic fruit from the Philippines is one of the highest nuts in heart-healthy fats of any nut on the planet. It's a perfect ketogenic snack, and the flavor and taste is like a cross between a pine nut, a pecan, and a Brazil nut. What we're doing, this is the next step in the process. We are drying the peely, the hard shell peely nuts, and we have to just toss them around, you know, so they're moved around so they get good airflow. And this process continues for 3 days. And then they're ready to be cracked and the kernel taken out. So this is a very important step, going on for 3 days till we get the moisture content out and the shells drier so they can be cracked more easily. We're now cracking the hard-shelled peely to reveal the treasure. These little brown skin, soft, tasty nuts, which can be used in a myriad of different culinary dishes. From here you could go further and take the brown skins off and make very light colored nut butters and nut milk. Delicious stuff here.
Peely nuts, they're so yummy.
And addicting.
You just want to stack up.
And never run out.
Well, thank you, David. And I'd love to bring David on now and share a little bit more about his products.
Hey, Deborah.
All right. Hey, David.
Aloha.
So you've been on the forefront of the superfood movement when I found out it was something that was hitting the collective when superfood became a big thing years ago, but I think you've probably been into it for a long time. So tell us more about how you got into it and what this superfood phenomenon is really about.
Well, it's been a while. I had almost a fatal encounter back in '74. I lost all the blood in my body, had a near-death experience, and it was raw living foods that saved my life. So about 17 years ago, I started Transition Nutrition, and our main brand is Divine Organics. And it's really about, putting high frequency living foods into your body. Our motto is life from life, energy from energy. So the more living food you put in your body, the more life you're adding to your being, which makes it easier to raise your awareness, consciousness, and be healthy with a good immune system.
Beautiful. That's really what we're about on this show, is really raising our consciousness frequency and operating at a really high level. So this is really important. And I'm assuming this is really important now. As I shared before, the foods that we get in our normal food chain isn't quite the quality or the vibration or the high life that we really need to be sustainable. And maybe that's why we have all this disease in our culture and so on. Can you share more about that?
Well, that's very true. We've been conditioned and programmed to eat dead food and, fast food. And this will, bring us to, a lower state of vibration, usually, and, make us susceptible to all kind of disease. And in the world today, with all the pollution of the air, the water, the soil, we better do everything we can to, help the ecology of the planet and ourselves, and, support our immune system. And, I feel it's very important also to eat, from the garden of the planet, rather than, slaughtering animals that are our younger brothers and sisters, which could cause us extra karma, extra pain and suffering, especially in the last days of our life. So, raw, living, organic food, to me, vegetarian, vegan, is most important and critical at this juncture in history on this planet. So
Totally. And they're yummy as well. They're really good. Can you share some of the products that you have available? And the pine nut, I think, is one of your new products.
The peely nuts, yes. Peely nuts are trending right now because they're a very exotic nut. They're a soft nut. They're the highest in heart healthy fats, magnesium, vitamin E, and people love them, especially flavored or turned into a creamy, delicious nut butter that puts Nutella to shame. So as you could see, we have a bunch of flavored ones and the peely nut butter, which is amazing. Besides that, as Scott was joking, many people say we have the best nuts because I travel around the world looking for these premium, high quality raw nuts, because that was part of my original diet that saved my life. And besides the greens, I got all my protein from mainly nuts. And we do some incredible hand-cracked raw Indonesian cashews, some incredible organic Hawaiian macadamia nuts, these organic peely nuts, princess pistachios, which are one of my favorites also. And then we do coconuts. We actually introduced fresh frozen coconut water to Harmless Harvest about 7-8 years ago, and they exploded with that, delicious Thai coconut water. We were one of the first to introduce the Himalayan crystal salt back in '03, and that has really taken off. Also Irish sea moss, which is very good for the body's immune system, digestive system, respiratory system. Our bliss mix, we love making up this mix for all our friends and family, and that's something that's really appreciated and loved, won a couple of awards. And yeah, my dad was in the food business for 40 years, so I grew up turning people on to, some of the best foods that, you could find anywhere. So it's been a long kind of odyssey or journey.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you for your service.
Yep,
Yeah,
you're
and you
very
can
welcome.
you can
And-
get
and
these
thank-
products at Thrive Market, which is an online supermarket of all these kinds of incredible foods. And I've also posted David's website there too, so you can go directly to his website. So you'll see the links in the chat room and there. So thank you, David, for this incredible service to us right now
I
of getting out these
mentioned
incredible
one more
Okay.
thing.
Uh-huh.
Forgot to mention the new brand Lava, which just came out recently. It's really based on peely nuts, and there's an incredible yogurt being made from the peely nuts, as well as a peely nut milk and a peely nut creamer under the brand Lava, Lavva. It's in all the Whole Foods, a lot of Safeways, Targets, and other box stores, so it's easy to find, and incredibly delicious stuff that is addicting.
Great. Thank you so much, David. Thank you for coming on and
Well,
sharing your
thank you,
amazing
Deb.
food.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Tricia, and all the other panelists. Much love, and stay connected and protected.
Thank you, David. You know, David talked a lot about how this is good for families, and I have been so enjoying watching the iStar family, including your daughter, especially doing the magic acts. It was really, wonderful to watch your reactions. Anyway, it's time for some music. Let's get it going. Take it away, iStar.
Man, what a great show. Thank you guys so much. And big shout out to David. We just finished some of that lava peely nut yogurt.
We love that.
And Shariah actually and David and others greatly inspired us a handful of years ago when we were in LA, and this beautiful lady started up her own superfood chocolate business, and I'm going to do a shameless plug for Silver Moon Chocolate. And you can order all the amazing stuff. She and her Oompa Loompas hand make everything. Lots of superfood organic goodness.
Also, I've made chocolate caramel lollipops by myself.
Yes, and we have a 7-year-old chocolatier who's working on training. Yes, she's Ms. Wonka. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Oh, right on. Anyway, all right, we got another song for you guys, and what's that?
The many hats we wear.
Indeed, just keep switching the hats. This song is called All Eyes, and
I'm in this video.
and Percy's in this video. She's on the track too. It's on our new album, a remix. As I crawl across the lavender desert, my calendar measures exquisite passages of lunar poetry in a valley of ashes where my fallen shadow grows its rosary. I am MC cubed, explosively extraordinary emotions, held in focus with totems that inconsolably tearing the tatters, banners of charters born in hypnosis, approach with the proper proportions, chakra contortionists assume kata pose, contain new coordinates, forces preset, deleted pretext, promotes complete quest, anonymous force, family of common source, clause subordinate to succulent kisses, releasing succubus's corsets from the orbiting grip of corporate warships. I'm a Rorschach, slipping in the doormat of vortexes, Kundalini, holy grail, spilled in my solar plexus. How many eyes do you use to see? Some people say 2, some people say 3. But if we want to unite and uplift humanity, we all gotta use our compassion and empathy. Like I look through your eyes, you look through my eyes, we look through her eyes, his eyes, their eyes, all eyes, all eyes. All eyes, all eyes, all eyes, all eyes, all eyes, all eyes, all eyes.
you guys are awesome. Thank you. So again, we can go learn all about them by going to istarvision.com. istarvision.com. And also, how do people get the chocolates?
Silvermoonchocolate.com.
Silvermoonchocolate.com. Started in Topanga, which I lived in Topanga for 6 years. So all good things that come from Topanga. Thank you both so much. You guys are wonderful. This is your third time on our show, and I know it won't be our last. Thanks so much.
Beautiful.
Okay, take it away, Deborah.
Thanks, Scott, and thanks, iStar. Awesome. And now we get to dive deep again into this amazing topic where we've gotten so much information and insight. We get to bring you Brad Olson, who has another deep, passionate expert and researcher on this topic. He's authored 9 books, including 2 in his esoteric series, Modern Esoteric and Future Esoteric. He's an award-winning author, a public speaker, a radio show host of the Esoteric Circle. He's a book publisher, event producer. He does keynote presentations at all kinds of conferences. He's been at Contact in the Desert, 5D events, many things. And he's also a producer. He produces his own festival called How Weird Street Fair in San Francisco. And I've known him in community for many years, and I deeply respect his work. So thank you, Brad, for coming on the show with us and sharing us on this important topic for tonight.
Well, thank you, Deborah and Scott, for having me. This is a great honor and privilege to be able to present in this forum, which I've seen grow from the beginning of the lockdown. And it's really what people need and a great way to spend a Saturday night when we can't go out too much anymore. So thank you guys for bringing this all together. It's been really wonderful to see it grow and finally to have a chance to be a part of it. Well, when I heard you were doing History's Mysteries, it occurred to me that this is one of the great esoteric subjects in the world today. So many things that we have taken for granted or thought we knew all about, such as our human origins, is now being rethought and reevaluated. Things are getting a lot older. Everything is getting dated much older, from the megaliths, which I'll talk about in a minute, to the skeletons and giants. And picking up where Tricia McCannon left off, it's so great to be here with so many of my colleagues from the conference circuit. See you guys all here presenting live. I too could probably go for 2 or 3 hours on this subject, but to keep it brief is the name of the game here. Let me just start with a quote that I think we all know from the Bible in Genesis 6:4. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. The same became mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. So this is referring to the giants in the Bible. And there are many implications of what this means, as well as references in Genesis, which tells us the history of our planet. It should be noted that before Schielman discovered the city of Troy, that was thought to just be a legend. When it was discovered in the 19th century, we all come to realize that the Homer Odysseys were based on facts. And I think more and more so, we're starting to see that many stories like from the Bible are also coming true. That being the most fascinating to me are these epic tales of the men of renown, these giants who have been dug up around the world. Now, Trish talked about Atlantis, and it could be that they were very human-like, very much like us, hard to even distinguish in a crowd. But even older than that, all the way back to the first root race, which was discussed by Helena Blavatsky. where there were 5 root races that lived here on Earth, the first being the Hyperboreans. And some of these giants that are being discovered are so huge, so massive, and so old that when they're discovered, they can just disintegrate right on the spot. I just got copies of my new book, Beyond Esoteric, this week. So unfortunately, the bio you heard is now 10 books, and the third and final in the series is right here. Fortunately, I got it in time, and I can show some pictures. So in the bottom here is a picture of one of the Hyperborean giants, they think, being found in Romania. So massively huge. It just defies our perspective of what a human-like creature could be on this planet, or a very different kind of species altogether. These being the oldest ones, and then you also have these cone-headed creatures that have been dug up quite extensively, not only here in North America and out here in California where I'm at, but also around the world. Down in South America, which I just had a great honor of traveling with Brian Forrester and Nassim Harriman and the Resonance Academy 2 years ago. And also that trip took me down to Antarctica. And as far as I know, I'm the only researcher who's gone down there to look at some of these claims about what might be happening in Antarctica. So it's quite an honor for me to have that experience and bring it to you here in the capacity of History's Mysteries. So when we were in South America, kept going to many of these ancient sites in the Sacred Valley of Peru, to Cuzco, to Tiwanaku in Bolivia. And in all these locations, they have found these elongated skulls. And what's so fascinating about these is they just have a much bigger head than we do. Even the Star Child skull that Lloyd Pye was taking around to conferences, a much larger cranial capacity. Now, we all know from reading in National Geographics how heads can be bound and boards can be put on them, and you can reshape a cranium fairly easily, especially from a young age. But one thing you cannot do is literally add cranial capacity, just add more to the back of the skull. And that's what we find with these elongated skulls, that they have 30% larger cranial capacity than modern humans do. So this brings up many questions. First of which is larger head, larger body, quite likely so. So are we talking about the giants of old, the men of renown? Quite likely so. Maybe we found them. Some of these aren't that old, though, while others are quite old. Some of these cone-headed creatures, and the new name is Homo capensis. And this is the new genius of human-like creatures who are being discovered here on Earth. This is so interesting because now we have seen the whole evolutionary tree expand to include new branches of humanity. And I should point out, it's not just very, very large human-like giants that have been found recently, but also dwarf figurines, dwarf human-like creatures on the island of Flores in Indonesia. And these dwarf-like humans were only 3 foot tall at the very highest that they would grow. So about the size of a gray alien. So now that we're rethinking history and looking at its great mysteries, we can come to see that many of these giants that have been uncovered are also being found at some of these locations that hold sacred places. And the mound sites here in North America, very enigmatic and very similar to the mound sites of Europe. Here's one in Kentucky, which quite looks like Silbury Hill, not far from Stonehenge. So a lot of these mysteriously megalithic sites the larger they are, they're even called cyclopean architecture for the massive size, because when they were first discovered, a lot of people associated them with giants. Cyclops was the one-eyed giant of the Homer Odysseys. So taken together, finding these elongated skulls at some of these megalithic sites, from Sacsayhuaman above Cusco to the Sacred Valley south of Cusco, to a whole museum in Paracas, Peru, that has them on display, as well as smaller museums in the Sacred Valley. You have a rethinking of our suppressed human origins, and that is a chapter in my new book, Beyond Esoteric, Escaping Prison Planet, because I really think these are esoteric subjects, and people really do need to realize that we have this legacy on Earth, which also includes these megalithic sacred places that in almost every instance, the native people would say that we didn't build those, such as the great megaliths in Peru and Bolivia, that they predated the Incans. And indeed, you can see sometimes architectural additions were added, whereas you have the oldest stones, the megalithic stones that have these most unusual fits, so perfect you can't even put a piece of paper or a credit card in there. And they defy our knowledge of quarrying stone and fitting them so expertly. So while we were on this trip in South America, Brian Forrester, Sim Harriman, his new physicist, all of this was being called into question, such as how these megaliths could be built in such a way that they could be formed so perfectly without any chisel marks. And again, being in this area where these giant skulls were found. So I know it's a short little excerpt of history's mysteries, but I hope you guys find this interesting, that the farther back we look, the bigger and more perfect the megaliths are, and they're oftentimes found with the remains of giants found nearby there. And I think I just made it to the 11-minute mark, and I thank you guys so much for having me on, and would
Brad,
like to...
there's so much more that you have to offer. So I've pulled up what you sent us. And of course, you mentioned Beyond Esoteric, Escaping the Prison Planet. Now, can people buy your book by going to your website?
They can, and this is the first week I've had these books. I got the advanced review copies, but they will be in Amazon and Barnes & Noble by next week. So if it's more convenient to get it that way, that's fine. But if they come through CCC Publishing, that comes through my office, and I'm able to send out signed copies for people.
Nice. So that's an important thing to know, is that we get signed copies by going through cccpublishing.com, or also to bradolson.com, where they find it there as well.
That will redirect them to the shopping cart on cccpublishing.com, where currently that's the one and only place to get them. It's actually a 2021 title. We just have the copies a little bit early and just in time for this show and the Christmas season. So
that's right.
I have a great present. Here you go.
Brad, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I really enjoyed it and learned so much from your other guests, and was thoroughly entertained by the magicians and the musical acts as well. So you guys did a great job.
Thanks. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yep.
All right. Well, I get to introduce you to somebody you may have seen before in our show. He's a really important member of our community. And I'm talking about Neil Gar, who has created and keeps Portal to Ascension going. His Portal to Ascension conferences are just fantastic. And we're going to learn again a little bit more. You've heard Tricia talk about them, William Henry talk about them. But guess what? Not only does he put together great events, previously live, now virtual in this current era of COVID, but the dude can rap. And so I'm going to turn it over to Neil Gar, who's got a very special something to share with us. Take it away, Neil.
Brother, thank you, Deborah. Scott, thank you, everybody. So awesome to be here. I do want to take us on a journey through the spoken word into our ancient history, our galactic history, up until maybe the present timeline, maybe until like around 325 AD.
Neil, your volume's a little low again. So
check. How about this?
There you go. Thank you very much.
All right. So I was saying, I do want to take us on the journey through spoken word from our galactic history before time even existed to the moment, till this current evolution, but more like after around 325 AD. So we're going to have a beautiful journey through words. But firstly, I want to tell you a little bit about Portal to Ascension. I do have 8 minutes, so I'm going to give you a 1 minute little thing right here. And Scott, if you could share the screens for the events I'm about to talk about, we're going to just plug really quick again. Tricia McCannon's webinar is tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific from 12 to 3 on Portal to Ascension. And if you do not know about us, we are a conscious event production company. At this point, create around 110 events a year. Almost every weekend this entire year, we've had a conference or a workshop. And this is one with Tricia McCannon coming up tomorrow. The truth of the quest of the search for the Holy Grail and the Grail Stone is going to be epic. And then the following week, we have Sacred Sites and Ceremonies online conference. And this is a new kind of new journey for myself, where I'm collaborating with Sacred Stories to create this amazing conference. And if you could share that page too, Scott, where we have an all-day event on 12/12/2020, so December 12th, 2020. We have 6 presentations and 8 sacred ceremonies. The amount of areas that are represented there is a lot, and there's going to be some amazing information. We have it set up like this: ceremony, presentation, ceremony, presentation. The presentations will be on the sacred sites, and the ceremonies will be from indigenous people all over the world, facilitating these sacred ceremonies, activating the grid lines of Earth. And I'm just going to read this paragraph here about what you're going to experience on it. We're going to begin at the epic center of our Earth in South Africa, home to the White Lions, and where the legend tells the place where the Star Lions came down. Next, we will anchor in the goddess energies with Tricia McCannon, honoring goddesses from the 4 corners of our Earth. Continue with us to explore sacred Egyptian mysteries with William Henry of the Tree of Life. Then we're going to go to the Pyramid of the Sun in Mexico, where humans became gods. Travel to Lake Mungo, Australia, home of the oldest living culture on Earth, and complete our world tour at the temples of humankind in Damanhur, Italy, where 4 synchronic energy lines intersect and travel through our sun to connect us with the universe. So if you want to check that out, Deborah is going to go ahead and post in the room right now. Please do go ahead and sign up for the event. It's going to be a great fun. And then our last event I want to mention is the day after that, one day after that, is the Psychedelic Awareness and Plant Medicine online conference, 100% free. You can register by donation if you would like to. There's only 6 people on the flyer, but we actually have 9 people. Everything from plant medicine can affect your DNA and your genetics, to the decriminalization of psychedelics and entheogenic fungi and plants all over the US right now. 100 cities had it on the ballot this year to decriminalize. Many of them did. All the way to the indigenous wisdom and testimonials from the audience, who are going to also be partaking in this and interacting, giving us testimonials of life-transforming experiences with psychedelics. That's the next day afterwards, so please do join us. All right, so now I'm going to go into some spoken word here. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to start when time didn't even exist. And then we're going to go into the incarnation of Earth and coming here, and the illusion of linearity, and then follow the bloodlines from the Anunnaki and the ancient gods to now. And I do have entire ballads, 10-minute long, 3,000 word ballads on the Anunnaki, Atlantis, Syrians, the Lyrians, Pleiadians, galactic history. So what I've done here is I pieced together many different poems to kind of give you that journey. So here we go. In the beginning, there were no words, no concept, no winning, no place, no time, no description, no label, and no finishing. until awareness became conscious of itself, separation from the source, no east, no west, no south or north. Not to mention, there never existed a dimension or ascension or physical lessons except for the 0 point. There was no Christ to anoint. Singularity, energy, frequency, raised vibrationally, paradoxically into limitation only the 5 senses can see. No linearity, no anarchy, no galaxies, no nebulae, no jobs, no nature, no materialism, no political lies, until darkness finally fragmented from the light, using free will to see through the night. You see, there is no time. The universe is my calendar. Only the perception of mind and humanistic creation of the divine, the ones from the heavens, came down to earth. I was here in the beginning, I will be here until the end. When the universe freezes over, the stars so far apart, and the dark matter is overcome by the dark energy, and solar systematic mentality is minimal in these galaxies. But actually, only 100 years to pass before an opening in the door, a crack in the floor, death, pain is purely mental, keeping us from fearing to move on into another dimension, into another universe. It will not end. It will keep going on. Use the multidimensional spirit to travel to the endless depths of space. The flat planes of the constellations are an illusion. Shifting of stars erase the superficiality of another's face. Relative of distance, the bending of time, erase the word for apprehension, platonic shift, and humans will finally find themselves falling into a black whirl of fire, energy, nothingness, the anti-level, sucked down with the gravitational pull, eventually releasing us into another plane out of a white hole. But I don't know if you've noticed, but time has slowed down. Or is it our perception of the now? Creating ripples, overcoming obstacles, abundance flows, the end is close, which only means there's a new beginning, spinning like a black hole's event horizon as my chakra points awaken and widen, a solar flare that inspires all men and women to inhale the ether into each of the pores inside of my physical cells that rely on oxygen and a natural amount of rest. I will forever rhyme until I take my last breath. You see, time has slowed down. Or is our perception of how? We exist in a matrix of disavowed humans searching for the next cash cow. I'm the sacred cow, worshipped at the top of the mound, spinning around, milk and honey to those who hear the sound as your chakra points awaken and your soul is found. Sun gaze to receive praise from this maze we find ourselves in, to the collective cellular membrane ancestry passed down to your kin. DNA strands unwind and bend and dissipate upon death. I will forever rhyme until I take my last breath. And as I come down to earth, I realize that we are all here now. From another place in time, we alter space-time, travel to this world to find resources to save God kind, higher dimensional beings imitating the divine radiant shine, golden deceptions and lies, repeated mutations, attempts and tries, spiral helix unraveled, generations have cried, countless humanoids have died, experimentation of mankind. Dismissed and forbidden knowledge denied, genetically created with fire in a test tube for those dimensionally hired, can incarnate, eat, live, and perspire. Indentured servants, we're programmed and we're wired to serve those that came from the sun, to mine our minds and minerals in the name of the one. We were all victims to the illusion. But the overlords are now here. The watchers through generations persevered to take control of time. The elitist bloodline rules by fear. Now you know the truth. It's time to listen and hear the frequency of earth from which life gave you birth. Which life gave you birth. Life gave me birth. And it started with Mesopotamia and the sons of God, who are the lower tier of the divine interdimensional beings in ancient Sumer. We were created from, genetically mutated from, Proto-Pro-Magnum, almost as if overnight. I speak of the old ancestry, the wormhole which we were given air to breathe and limited mental capacity. The daughters of men, the Nephilium. Who could we be? We're made in the image of the Anunnaki, retreated back over the Black Seas and left a Masonic breeze to sweep over the planet to reinsure the incarnation of unwilling souls, to be ripped out from the Federation of Galactic Black Holes and instant travel between dimensions. The stones became the Freemasons. The Vatican, an organization of Hitler and his men, is the simplest skull and bones. They think they've always had control. They think they always had control. Last one. Now we're at 325 AD. Now we're at the Constantine bloodline and the manipulation through the Council of Nicaea with the Gnostic text, taking parts of the gospel and created their own Bible in their own image, based on their own time, based on the hierarchy that existed on earth. The sun stops. On the 22nd, it dies in the skies, reflects over oceans. He walks on water. Didn't you see him telling me how to be like he lived? He died for us, but there's no such thing as us. There's only one covenant. Feel me, show me, teach me. Since 325 AD, Constantine proclaimed himself a part of divinity. Manipulations of Christianity, political organizations created order from anarchy, making us believe there's only one way to breathe and conform to society. Place me at the bottom of the elitist hierarchy. The pyramids created by the Anunnaki, climbing the Tower of Babel to reach God. Why did you leave us here? We're not separate at all. It's all crystal clear. Human flaws portrayed in our concept of divinity. Is politics intertwined with spirituality? Is politics intertwined with spirituality? And if I can do 20 seconds just to end it off on a high vibe note. Meditate and levitate. Waves of frequencies resonate higher. I'm connected to the provider, source of cosmic energy. We're going to be one single entity, expansion remedied. Oneness must breathe, exhale and let free. Consciousness to be, experiences of you and me. Souls of interdimensional beings to feel, hear, and see this third-dimensional planetary existence. All time can be found in one instance. In this realm of linearity, atoms and anarchy, quantum polarity, the epitome of creation. Facing our egos, acquiring patience, waiting to let go of our nations and join the federation of souls that will take us to the fifth world. Thank you all so much. Love you. Please do check out my, I've recently been taken off a couple of social media platforms. So please do check out my Instagram, instagram.com/MC_resonance. So oops, I just posted my lyrics accidentally in there, but I'm going to post my link to my Instagram. Please do check out instagram.com/MC_resonance, and then go to our website if you want to look at different events we do. Check out my about page too. I appreciate you all so much. I'm going to be dropping an album sometime next month. I'm creating all my tracks right now, making my studio, setting everything up. So also stay tuned for that. Love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. And again, you're going to find all of this at portaltoascension.org. That's a .org, portaltoascension.org, and all the amazing things that Neil is doing. And thank you for sharing the history of the world in 6 minutes, whatever it was, of spoken word. That's pretty amazing how you do that, buddy. I want to share one thing that I actually haven't done before in all the time that I've been hosting this show. And that is I'm going to be teaching a workshop next Saturday. It's a 4-hour workshop. And I want to share it with all of you for a moment because it's about probably one of the most difficult things that happens. And that is how we can really merge in relationship, come together, because it feels so good to come together, but then not to get lost in toxicity, not to get lost in codependence. And look, we've all been in codependent, enmeshed relationships. It's part of our evolution. It's part of our experience. And I sure have. And I've learned a lot. And in the 20 years that I've coached over about 1,000 couples now, I've learned a lot of tools. And so my teaching partner, Tricia, and I are going to be teaching this workshop. We've taught it 3 times in the last 3 months, mostly for online festivals. And the response has been amazing. People have said, oh my God, that changed our life. So we decided to do one publicly, open to the public. If you want more information on it, Deborah's putting the link into the chat box. You can also private message me on Facebook. I'm pretty good about checking private messages. We're limiting it to a small number of people so that we can really kind of go deep, but it's going to be very tool oriented, teaching tools to really go from how to merge, how to manage setting boundaries in a compassionate way. And it's going to be deep and dynamic. And so I hope some of you might join us. Okay, thank you for that. All right, it is time for some more music. And once again, I'm really grateful that we've got Queen Wah with us. She's so cool. Wah, take it away. It's all yours.
Thank you. I've heard a lot of math from the speakers about sacred geometry and ancient civilizations. So this mantra has 9 syllables, and you can just receive it as a code. So you can join in and sing if you like, but you can also just allow those 9 syllables to regenerate the body, regenerate the cells. This is the mantra for green Tara. tari, turi sva. Tari, turi sva.
Wow. Just want us to kind of breathe that in for a moment. And I'm going to her website, wahmusic.com, WAHMUSIC.com. Wah, tell us, your music obviously is so beautiful, but I'm really curious about your self-care class. Tell us a little bit about that.
Self-care is a series of cards and activities that you can do in order to improve your health and your mood. And so people just said that I was too intellectual and that my trainings were too hard. And so we created a card deck, and it's more like a game now. I'm working with teenagers, I'm working with medical professionals, first responders, nurses, counselors all over the world. Our next training is in January. So we're trying to give people tools that they can do in 3 minutes or less. Tapping and massage and tapping your thymus, and what I would consider are the wisdoms that we've received from the ancient civilizations, in this case yoga, traditional Chinese medicine, and Ayurveda.
Beautiful. Thank you. Well, I'm going to go back to the website one more time. So she's got the self-care deck, and she also just, hey, license WA, add her music to any number of all of our various projects that we do. So, thank you so much for being on the show. This is your second time with us, and I hope you come back again in our winter season.
Thank you so much. It's really beautiful to share higher energy in this way. I don't know how I would have made it through the lockdown without community. Thank you so much.
God bless you. Thank you. All right. And to introduce our last speaker, all the way from Bosnia, Deborah, tell us about Dr. Sam.
Thanks, Scott. We have one more amazing speaker, very experienced and expert in this subject we're hosting tonight, coming from Bosnia. And I think at least some of us have heard about the Bosnian pyramids, which he is an expert on. He's an anthropology professor, and he's a scientist, megalith, pyramid sites researcher. He's internationally acclaimed businessman, and he has discovered the Bosnian pyramids and underground tunnel network. And he also holds a PhD in Mayan pyramids. He's the author of 18 books, and we're so happy to have him right now. This is Dr. Sam Osmanagish. Thank you, Sam, for being with us tonight. Need you to unmute.
Hi, I'm happy to be here, and good morning from the Bosnian pyramids. It's 6 a.m. here in Bosnia in Southern Europe. You see, almost everything they teach us about the ancient history is wrong. The origin of man, civilizations, and pyramids. Man is not a product of evolution, but genetic engineering. Civilizations have not started just 7,000 years back, but the first documented civilizations go back 273,000 years and 500 years back from Sumerians. And finally, the pyramids have not been built only in Egypt and Mexico, but on all continents. In the last 15 years, I've been running the groundbreaking work at the Bosnian pyramid sites. This is the first case where the non-profit, non-government foundation has been running such a large archaeological project. So far, we have discovered 6 pyramids, which we named the Bosnian pyramids of the Sun, Moon, Dragon, Earth, the 6th pyramid, and Pyramid of Love. 3 major pyramids, Sun, Moon, and Dragon, form equilateral triangle, the perfect geometrical shape. And under the Valley of Pyramids in Bosnia, we have huge network of underground tunnels, and so far we have discovered 6 entrances to those tunnels. So far we have 2 levels of the tunnels, and we have cleared and secured for visits more than 2 miles of those prehistorical tunnels. Why is this discovery important? The first pyramids in Europe, the largest on the planet, the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, is 2 times higher than the Great Pyramid of Egypt. The pyramids in Bosnia are covered by soil and vegetation. The same case like 250 pyramids in China, or more than 100,000 pyramids in Central America, the countries of Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and Belize. Next, the main feature of the pyramids in China, Egypt, Peru, or Indonesia, and Cambodia is their perfect orientation to the cardinal points, east, west, north, south. The Great Pyramid of Egypt has an error from the cosmic north for 0 degrees and 3 minutes. The Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, 0 degrees, 0 minutes, and only 12 seconds. When we started uncovering the pyramids in Bosnia, under 4 feet of soil, we discovered rectangular and square blocks. We analyzed them. It was an ancient concrete. Some people call it geopolymer concrete, some people synthetic concrete. And it was 2 or even 3 times harder, better quality than what we can make today in the 21st century. And finally, the age. Based on radiocarbon dating that we discovered on the Bosnian pyramids, the age is 29,200 years plus minus 400 years. So all the history books will have to be rewritten. But the most exciting stuff are just coming. We were the first one to scientifically prove that the pyramids were not built as tombs for the pharaohs, for one dead body, but as huge energy machines. When you build 4-sided pyramid and perfectly oriented, it starts to amplify the energies, the natural sources of energy. Below the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, we have a huge iron plate. Iron generates electromagnetism. The pyramid amplifies this electromagnetic energy. How do we know that? Because we have measured it. On the top of the pyramid, the energy is 50 times stronger than at its base. Secondly, below the pyramid, underground water flow. Water moves, it generates negative ions. The pyramid amplifies the concentration of negative ions. And then we have another water flow below the first one. Between them, the charge is generated, electricity. The pyramid amplifies this electricity. The next one, we are finding a lot of quartz crystal during our archaeological excavation on the pyramid and in underground tunnels. And the quartz crystal has the ability to transform the energy from one form to another, from electromagnetic fields to the ultrasound. And we do measure the ultrasound frequency of 28 kilohertz. And this is the levitation frequency. You feel light when in the tunnels or on the pyramids. And then the next one is the level of orgone or life energy, or in Eastern traditions known as prana or chi. There is an instrument to measure this energy, and on the scale from 0 to 100, our contaminated cities are at 25%, villages 50%, pyramids 100%. So our conclusion, the pyramids are energy machines. What you can use this energy for? On the very top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, we have measured the existence of energy beam, which is 28 kilohertz in frequency, electrical in origin. It's continuous because we've been measuring it during all seasons, spring and summer and fall and winter. And it moves from 4.5 meters or 13 feet radius to 70 feet radius, going back to 1370, 1370. These are so-called Tesla's scalar waves. Scalar waves travel much quicker than the speed of light, and they are ideal media to move the energy, to move the information on a very long distances. So our conclusion, the first purpose of the pyramid energy is to be the communication device. The second purpose, we realized when in those underground tunnels, deeper you go, you breathe better and better. Not very logical, but nothing in Bosnia is logical. And people with the respiratory problems, with asthma, once they visit those tunnels, they get back, they don't need inhalators, air pumps for weeks. People with a high blood pressure, it gets normalized after one visit. People with a high glucose or a high sugar in the blood, it reduces for 5 or 6 points. Our conclusion, the second purpose of pyramid energy is to improve our health. The regeneration process starts. And if we got lucky, the rejuvenation process starts. The third purpose of the pyramid energy, we've been discovering some tunnels with the water, and it's been there for thousands of years. When we compare it to our city water or bottled water, this water from the pyramid is so superior. The conventional analysis has shown no viruses, no bacteria, pH is perfect, 7.45, which is the pH of our blood, and it vibrates very high. We sent the samples of the late Dr. Masaru Emoto from Japan, and we could see that the molecular structure is hexagonal, which is the most powerful geometrical shape when it comes to the energy, and it's like quartz crystal, like crystal-like structure. It vibrates high, it's energetically alive, it's a happy water. So the next purpose of the pyramid energy, to improve the molecular structure of the most important liquid in our life, water. Number 4, to improve the food. Number 5, to improve our auric field. Number 6, to get our chakras back in balance and to open them up. Number 7, to improve our spiritual abilities. Number 8, to improve our immunity. Number 9, to improve the atmosphere, and so on. And the beautiful thing is, it is all measurable. If you can measure it, you can scientifically prove it. So this project, from the pure archaeological digging back in 2005 and 2006, have become the multidisciplinary scientific project. And then we moved to another field, energy aspect, and then to another one. This energy affects our spiritual abilities, so spirituality, and then the healing aspect. So only if you approach any pyramid or megalithic sites with those 5 aspects, then you can understand the ancient builders and their wisdom. Very briefly.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Sam. I'm going to pull up his website because obviously there's so much information he has. And it's the website is SEMIROSMANAGIC.com. Another way of looking at it is it's Rosmanagic is his last name.com. There's a lot there. We can learn a lot from him. So, Dr. Sam, I really appreciate you coming all the way from Bosnia, getting up early in the morning, and providing so much wisdom and your dedication to this work. And I imagine that there's been times, given your particular government, that's been very challenging. So, thank you for your courage and your dedication to helping us to understand this truly ancient mystery and history and how it impacts us in current time.
Thank you, guys. And when you come with the new ideas, the cultural establishment always wants to keep the status quo. It's been tough, especially first few years. But when you have scientific arguments, when you believe in your dreams, you're going to get there.
Beautiful. God bless you. Thank you so much, Dr. Sam.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Well.
Ask a question. Can I ask a question, Scott? Of Dr.
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
So what is I know that it's 51.51 for the Giza pyramid, and then the 76, I think, for what we call the taller Russian pyramids. And then what is the Bosnian pyramid angle?
In Egypt, there are 155 pyramids, and they are, when it comes to inclination to the angle, they are in the range from 32 to 65 degrees. Nubian pyramids in the northern Sudan, about 70 degrees. The Bosnian pyramids, 32 degrees. The bent pyramid in Egypt, 2 angles, 43 and 54. Why the angles are important? There is an energy flow within the pyramid. Energy moves, hitting 1/3 of the height, going to 2/3, coming back to 1/3, completing the circle. By changing this angle, you change the speed of the energy. You change the frequency. In other words, you can use this energy for different purposes.
Some of the purposes that you mentioned for the Bosnian periods obviously go along with that 32-degree angle.
Exactly. So obviously, there are 3 different energy flows when it comes to the pyramids. The first one I just mentioned, the energy flows within the pyramid. And interestingly enough, those 3 chambers in the Great Pyramid of Egypt, and they call them for some reason kings, queens, and unfinished, they all lay on the path of this energy flow. But the second energy flow, I also mentioned it, is the one that goes through the very top, and it can be used as the communication energy. And the third one is the energy that goes off the pyramid on the ground in concentric circles, affecting the agriculture and the whole societies. So what we need is completely new science, the science on pyramids, the pyramid science, that we need a lot of measurements. You mentioned the Russian pyramid. Our colleague, Dr. Alexander Golod, did build 16 pyramids. The one you were referring was the one near Moscow, which unfortunately has been destroyed. Well, that pyramid also has a healing, or it used to have healing abilities, and some others because he was measuring the same thing that we do. So these are just, the ideas that pyramid can affect us on so many different levels. But like I said, different angles, but also different materials and different designs. You have stepped pyramid, you have, true pyramids and so on. Give us different energies, different abilities to heal, to communicate, to improve the water and so on.
Well, thank you very much.
Very welcome.
Does he have a book in English?
Yes, there is another site. It's very easy to remember. It's Books by Dr. Sam, Books by Dr. Sam, booksbydrsam.com. And my 8 recent books can be read for free.
Are they in English?
They are in English, yes. Let me
Oh my
type
God.
it.
Are they just simply
Books
online or are they
by-
also like printed?
This is the site, booksbydrsam.com. They are online, but they can be purchased also.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You're fabulous.
Thanks a lot, guys. You enjoy.
Thank you. Hopefully you'll come on back again.
All right. Okay.
Thanks for
Bye-bye.
getting up so early.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, we are almost done. I'm going to turn it over to Deborah in a moment for her to say goodbye. But I want to thank, in addition to all the people that have been registering for our new season, quite a few people have donated. And I want to thank, there was a beautiful anonymous donation for $500. So thank you very much, whoever you are out there. We really appreciate that. Thank you. I also want to thank Rachel, Jan Ballard, dear friend of ours, Terry Russo. Terry, I notice that you always donate to us, to the nonprofits, to the fire victims. God bless you. Somebody just said home. Of course, always a lot of anonymous donations. Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Robin. Thank you, Christy Michaels, our dear friend. And thank you, Judith. So really do appreciate those donations. God bless you. I'm going to give Deborah a chance to say some last words, and then we'll conclude with one last little thought. Take it away, Deborah.
Yeah, again, this was an amazing show. After every show, Scott and I have a phone call and we go, wow. And this again was such incredible information from all the speakers, the musicians, how it wove together. I want to thank again Tricia Dharma, who helped put us all together. She's part of our team. It was her inspiration and her beautiful connecting of most of these speakers. So we love you, Tricia, so much. And it's really a village that put this together. So thank you. And reminding you to come next week when we have a relationship mastery in connection to ourself, source, and others with David Pramal and Mitten, Gay and Catherine Hendricks, Pato Baton and Antoinette Roots Darwin Hall, Trish Wright, the Greg Magic Bernstein. We'll have a new magician, Chris Heron. This is going to be a really special show. Again, Scott put this together, so we all have our specialties. And December 19th, inviting you to Winter Solstice, Activating the New World for 2021. Neil Donald Walsh, Starhawk, Mirabai Davey, Elizabeth April, Guinevere Bridge, The Stargate, and other musicians. So join us for the next 2 weeks, another amazing shows.
And just one last thing.
Love you so much.
Oh, sorry, Deborah. One last thing to remind you is tomorrow we're going to do a full hour plus with Michael Feely, going really much deeper into all of his wisdom, all of his knowledge about Atlantis, the pyramids, Jesus, Mary Magdalene, and more. So join us at 10 o'clock Pacific time tomorrow. You can find it on my Facebook page. And in a couple of minutes, I will post the Zoom room link if you want to come directly into the Zoom room. So that's tomorrow at 10 o'clock Pacific time.
What is the website, Scott, for people to sign up for these events?
Globalpeacetribe.com. Globalpeacetribe.com is where people can register for us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tricia. Thank you, Laura, for still being with us and all of your help. Deborah, thank you for being an amazing partner. And thank you, Global Peace Tribe, for watching. You know, there's still 240 people in our Zoom room. You guys are amazing. Hope to see you tomorrow morning. God's blessings. Good night.